In California, they have got themselves an awesome grift. Awesome. And it happens in New York. It happens in the separate countries of Washington state. You are paying their bills. If you live in a responsible state, the state of Idaho in which I live is somewhat responsible. Congratulations, you are paying for New York. You're paying for California. And they know this. This SALT tax debate that's going on, there should be no write-off for these big states and these rich people with their big houses there. There should be maybe no write-offs for state taxes. What would that do? If states had to have people pay the taxes and not get it back from the feds, do you think that might right-size things? Here's an example of what's going on in New York.
2020 and 2022, we flipped 10 seats in New York and California. We have a 5-seat majority. And so it was New York and California that delivered the majority. Obviously, 2 states, we can all agree, poorly run by 2 terrible Democratic governors and supermajorities in the state legislature that have passed insane legislation, increased spending. In New York, they've increased spending by $100 billion in a decade. We have the highest tax burden in the country. In my district, 3 of the 4 counties that I represent, Maria, are 3 of the top 16 highest property tax counties in America.
So the SALT taxes are indemnifying people from this, and thanks to Fox News for that. Here's some numbers. I'll give you the numbers in a second, actually. Let me tell you this, that this is a lot like what's going on in American healthcare. They have popped up the prices for things that do not work in this country. For instance, you go get surgery in this country and your surgeon's going to tell you, oh, I put stem cells in your knee or your back or your shoulder. In 90% of cases, guess where they get those stem cells? From you. My stem cells are in their late 50s. They do not do what the stem cells from Renew Healthcare do, which comes straight from umbilical cords. And the quality there is unmatched. I recently talked to a patient who's at Renew. His wife is getting life-extending treatment. She went in for treatment one day, and they came out and said, hey, you know what? We tested the stem cells. They're not providing the quality we need. We want you to come back later today. They went to a different batch. They didn't need to do that. Those stem cells weren't going to harm her at all. They simply weren't going to deliver. She's been down there for 3 months. She's down there for another month. It was one day. They're honest. If you've been told that your arthritis cannot be cured, that it's pills for the rest of your life, if you've been told you have to have surgery for your shoulder or your knee or back, that might not be true. Go check them out. It's at Renew, RENUE.healthcare. I'll be back down there June 7th through the 11th. Would love to meet you if you can get treatment that early. It's Renew.healthcare. Please tell them you're part of the Todd Herman Show family. That stuff's been puffed up here. There's prices for this. New York is puffing up things. Here's a little bit of data from New York. The New York State and city combined have likely spent between $9 and $12 billion since 2020 on services for undocumented immigrants, meaning illegal immigrants, and asylum seekers. New York's costs projected to hit 10 to 12 billion by mid-2025, and the state's $2.1 billion and $2.4 billion fiscal year 2025-2026 are the main drivers of this, and this comes from Grok. I asked a very simple question about that spending. They have an unfinished foster care computer system that's a $351 million program that still doesn't work. It's been being built since 1993. They funded the National Comedy Center for $4.3 million. They've been funding things like Buffalo Bills stadium subsidies, and you pay for this because you're indemnifying these people for their voting decisions in these blue states, these communist states. It's not any better in Seattle. This is a transit agency that's the most corrupt transit agency in the United States of America. You are underwriting the costs of a transit agency that is $3 billion behind, and this is from years ago. This has tripled and quadrupled.
That's quite a sum, President. Sound Transit is $3 billion short of the money it needs to run trains right here to West Seattle. And businesses in the pathway of the tracks, well, they say the cost to set up shop at another location, well, it far exceeds the assistance that's being offered.
The assistance is being offered, meaning they intend to seize their properties. And incidentally, you pay for that as well. They seize the properties, they take them for the businesses from a short period of time, then they give them to big business. In King County, on homelessness, It's estimated that King County has spent over $1 billion per year on homelessness. $1 billion. King County is the county in which Seattle sits. Seattle Times, which loves homelessness and loves leftism and communism, estimated a combined spending in King County at $195 million, which is on the low end. The Business Journal did the estimate of $1 billion per year. King County Regional Homeless Authority has a budget of $170 million, primarily funded by taxes, and property taxes are part of this. You are part of this. No matter where you live, you're underwriting this. The very idea that there are Republicans arguing to maintain SALT deductions for big spenders in big Democrat leftist cities shows you how far removed they are from a reality. My big idea is this. By the way, I don't want this. I want to write my state taxes off my federal taxes. But what about, for the sake of transparency, we don't? What if we just let the states deal with the fiscal reality of what they're doing to their constituents? Maybe they'll change things. Maybe they'll streamline. Maybe they'll do what we did once in corporate America and do a 20% across the board cut. Funny thing, how creative management became after that.